Hey guys, welcome back to Team Death Slinger. My name is Peter, and today we're going to start looking at Special Release Booster 2.0 decks. So if you guys are not aware, Lordknightmon is in the conversation as one of the most impactful decks that's kind of circulating around in the JP meta because of this silly little purple engine we've got going on. So for the deck profile that I wanted to start our Special Release Boosters with, why not a funny purple deck? It is meta relevant. This is my spin on it. It is by no means what I think is the most meta, but I do enjoy this version of the deck. So starting with our eggs, 4 copies of the BT6 Tsunomon. When you trash a card in your hand using one of your effects, you're going to trigger draw 1. Great for our draw engine. It's going to be really important for finding our pieces later in the game, and it makes our Goblimon into Dober X play really, really insane. 4 copies of Ignitemon from BT11. We are not going to use the when attacking very much to pop a body. If we really need the removal effect, it is there and it does something. But the when you play Digimon by an effect, gain 1 memory inheritable is really, really impactful in this deck. We're going to play lots of bodies, and this is going to net us lots of memory over the long run. We're going to have 4 copies of BT14 Goblimon. When one of your effects trashes a card in your hand, you're going to gain a memory. Super great card in this Dark Animal engine. Dober X is going to gain you memory back. Our level 5s, if you're hitting the Cerberus X, is going to gain you memory back. And depending on what you play back with the Lordknightmon effect, you can also gain memory that way. So really, really, really strong level 3 in this deck. I'm rounding it out with 1 copy of BT3 Gazimon. This is the memory blocker. And 1 copy of BT8 Psychemon. Players can't reduce play cost. Death X-mon ruins this deck. I think mandatory is 1 copy of Psychemon, and then depending on what's at your table, you can either go 1 copy of the Gazimon or double up on the Psychemon. You really want to make sure that you're dropping this down when your board is vulnerable to make sure you don't just get absolutely ruined by that Death X-mon. Then we're going to run 1 copy of the BT6 Sistermon Blanc. When you have a Digimon with Huckmon in its name or Royal Knight in its type in play, all of your Digimon with Sistermon gain blocker, and on play it triggers draw 1. We are going to be playing a Royal Knight in Lordknightmon, so we do have access to the Sistermons and their various effects. We have lots of ways to play generic level 4s from trash, which includes Sistermons. So this is a great utility card to make sure that when we are vulnerable, if we took too long to set up, maybe we didn't find all of our pieces, if we need to stall, this is a good piece to make sure that we have at least a blocker to throw in the way. I am also on 2 copies of the ST12 Sistermon Blanc. On play, you trash 1, draw 2. This synergizes incredibly well with the Tsunomon Egg and our Goblimon and Ogremon inheritables. And then if you have a Digimon with Huckmon or Royal Knight in its traits, this Digimon gains Decoy, Black, and Red. Super great because Lordknightmon is now purple-black, so you can actually decoy it with the Sistermon Blanc. The important thing to note here is that you are not going to have bounce protection, so you are still really vulnerable to that, but this will stop you from swinging into security bombs that would blow you up because we don't have any protection whatsoever on Lordknightmon. For our level 4s, we're on 4 copies of the BT14 Ogre. It has an effect that says when one of your effects trashes a card in your hand, you gain a memory, and the inheritable does the same thing. This is just another great way to get memory back. And then we have 4 copies of EX5 Dobermon X-antibody. On play, you're going to give something retaliate until the end of your opponent's turn, and when digivolving, draw 1, trash 1 in your hand, and then if you have Dobermon or X-antibody, you get to activate the on-play. Inheritable gains you a memory back when you play a Digimon by an effect. This is going to get us lots of memory on our level 5 plays, because all of our level 5s are going to play us out a body. The on-play does come up because we can play out a level 4, and our regular Lordknightmon can redirect an attack, so we can actually make our Lordknightmon a really imposing body by giving it retaliate and threatening to redirect an attack into it to possibly trade stacks if their stack is bigger and better, or to just deter any small bodies from getting through. So great copy to have it for. It synergizes really well with the Goblimon. You're able to do just a promote into Dober X, and it just costs you 1 memory because you get 1 back off the Goblimon. And if you have Protoform in hand, it's actually a free Evo because the Protoform discounts it by 1 as well. So just mandatory for it in this deck. This slot is kind of a flex slot. What I am running and enjoying is the BT8 BlackGatomon. It has Rush and a Retaliate inheritable, so when you play out your level 4 with Lordknightmon, you can actually play this down to get the rush check if you need to close out the game that way. If you don't see the Cerberus Mon X inheritable that lets you unsuspend and swing the extra check, this could be a great way to close out the game. Pretty commonly, you will see the new Deltamon in this slot that pops to level 4 by discarding a card on play when digivolve and when attacking. It does also cost 3 to Evo and have blocker in its inheritables. Personally, the version of the deck that I'm running is a little bit more aggressive, so this BlackGatomon seems to slot in a little bit better than the Deltamon. I kept finding myself coming up just a little bit short against more aggressive decks, and this is what I found myself enjoying as a solution to that problem. Moving on to our level 5s, a bit of a weird split for me. 3 copies of the Sistermon X-antibody from EX5. On play, you're going to play a level 3 purple Digimon card from your trash without paying the cost, and then when Digivolving, draw 1 trash one. If you have Cerberus or X-antibody, you activate the on play. So if you Evo into this with Protoform, you're going to draw 1 trash one, then play a level 3 purple Digimon from trash. That combination of effects should trigger every inheritable we have to gain memory. So in a perfect world, you're going to protoform into this for 2 and then gain 2 memory back, making this a 0 cost Evo, which is part of what makes this deck really, really busted. The inheritable says when attacking, you can delete one of your other Digimon to unsuspend this Digimon, which makes it so that when you're swinging your funny alliance checks with Lordknightmon X, which we will get to, you have potential to do a lot of damage. 2 copies of Bastimon from EX6. It has Scapegoat, and it has when Digivolving, you may play a level 3 purple Digimon card from your trash without paying the cost. Inheritable also says when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, you can play a level 4 or lower purple Digimon from your trash without paying the cost. What I really like about Bastimon is it does not have the X-antibody stipulation to it. So if you do not see the protoform, this is still a live level 5 that plays you a body and nets you memory back to make sure that we are staying efficient with our stack. The also really nice thing about it is I've had the Scapegoat effect of this card come up in particular quite a few times where I actually whiff on the level 4, I have a rookie in raising, and I just plop down the Basti on turn 2 with the level 3 in front. Especially if you see the Yulin and you're at 3, this doesn't feel that bad. You're actually just passing at 4. And then the opponent can actually remove the Bastimon because I have a rookie on board to Scapegoat. And then I can go into the Lordknightmon next turn with the guaranteed memory setter. And now my deck is live, basically. So super, super, super good level 5 to run in this deck next to the Sistermon X. And then I do also like my 2 copies of Lady Devimon X. On play and when Digivolving until the end of your opponent's turn, you're going to give one of their Digimon end of attack, delete this Digimon. That is such a clutch effect because it does get around protection effects because you are giving the effect to the opponent's Digimon. And I believe most, if not all, protection effects target your opponent's effects. So because this is given to a Digimon, it gets around protection effects, which can be an excellent deterrent for your opponent and adds another little bit of a defensive measure to this deck. You're also going to get a Volayans or Drukin token that has blocker retal if you have the X-antibody in your sources, and the inheritable will let you play a level 4 from trash when one of your opponent's Digimon is deleted on their turn, just like the Bastimon, so again, going to help you go wide, and if you have Ignite in your stack, you're going to steal a memory when you do that as well. 1 copy of the Anubismon, just mandatory in this deck. On main, and when Digivolving, you can trash 3 cards in your hand, play a purple Digimon with the cost reduced by 3, plus 1 for every card you trash, and then when you play a Digimon, you delete a level 5 or lower, and if it doesn't delete, you draw 1. Some really great targets for this card in this deck. You have the Lady Devimon X, which will trigger the end of attack, delete this Digimon effect. Sistermon X just nets you a free level 3, so if you're all in on the discards, you're paying 2 for this, and then getting a free level 3. Not counting your memory gain effects, you might actually get into this play for free, which is really, really good. You can also target the Lordknightmon with this. You're paying 5 to play the Lordknightmon, which then plays out a level 4. Again, with at least 2 memory gain inheritables, this is actually a 3 memory play rather than a 5 memory play. And if you told me I could have a level 6 and a level 4 for 3 memory, I would say that is a good deal, especially when you have a memory setter in this deck that guarantees you 3 memory. You'll be able to do something like that and keep turn, which is absolutely bonkers. Then we have 3 copies of the Lordknightmon from BT19, the new boss monster himself. On play, and when Digivolving, you may play 1 level 4 or lower Digimon card from your trash without paying the cost. The important thing about this is not color exclusive, so you can play your Sistermons and you can play your purple or black level 4s, whatever color. And then opponent's turn, when any of your opponent's Digimon attack, you may change the attack target to one of your Digimon with the Royal Knight trait. So you can redirect an attack into this Lordknightmon if you so choose. Lots of ways to get Retaliate on this stack, which makes it a really, really threatening redirect target. Then we have the Lordknightmon X-antibody that we are also getting in this special release booster. Collision Piercing, silly combination of effects, and it evos on Lordknightmon for 1. When Digivolving, you de-Digivolve 1 on one of your opponent's Digimon for each of your Digimon. So you should, in a perfect world, have 3 bodies on board, 1 from the Cerberus X or the Bastimon or the Lady Devi X, 1 from the Lordknightmon, and then the Lordknightmon X himself. So that'll be 3 de-Digivolve targets. And then one of your opponent's Digimon can't evo until the end of their turn. Super devastating, turns off Blast Aces, stops your opponent from really rebuilding on that de-Digivolve stack. And then all turns, if you have Lordknightmon or X-antibody in its sources, all of your Digimon with Nightmon in their text gain Alliance and get 3k DP. So assuming you have the Protoform in this stack or the Lordknightmon, this is actually going to be a 15k Alliance Collision Piercing Digimon. It's definitely not overloaded, guys. It's just purple things. So this is obviously what we want to get to, going wide and then playing out the Collision Piercing. so that we can start trimming down the opponent's board. That de-digivolve effect is going to force them to not be able to rebuild on one of their stacks. So you're just going to completely obliterate their board as long as you respond with this Digimon and break down whatever your opponent is doing. I'm on one copy of the Ruin mode. This was a struggle to choose if I wanted Death X or Ruin mode, but ultimately I found myself getting to Lordknightmon usually before the opponent was ready to do something, and because of that, I feel like Ruin mode is just better in this slot. You're going to give your opponent's board minus 5k blanket effect. A lot of the times, this can just cuck your opponent into not promoting at all, and you're just way ahead on momentum, and you're going to be at a huge security advantage and just ready to build back with this really, really efficient engine. It also nets your recovery and pops a body if you get that far, but the minus 5k effect is really what we care about here. I'm also on one copy of Jesmon GX. This synergizes really, really well with the Sistermon effects, and it can evo for 5 on any Royal Knight. So it is also black, so the color doesn't really, or the Royal Knight trait doesn't really come up because we have the appropriate colors for it. But you're going to get to tuck a Royal Knight with play cost 13 or less from hand or trash under this Digimon, and then activate its when digivolving effect. So either you're tucking the Lordknightmon to get another level 4, or you're tucking Lordknightmon X to de-digivolve something again. And the really disgusting thing about this is, like we've talked about, we have memory gain inheritable. So if we are at 3 with a memory setter, and then we tuck this Lordknightmon X, it's totally possible that we get into Jesmon GX for 3 memory, play out an extra body like the BlackGatomon with Rush, and then depending on what kind of stack we have, this could be swinging 4 checks while you keep turn and you play a Rush body. You swing in that Black Auto, you have cinched game as long as you got a chip damage in. So that is a seriously, seriously strong play that you can do with this as your top end. And then for every card with Royal Knight in this traits, you're going to gain Piercing, Blocker, and Sec +1 for each of those cards. So if you have Lordknightmon, Lordknightmon X, and then you tuck a Lordknightmon, you have 3 cards with those sources, you get Sec +3, your Jesmon swinging 4 checks. 4 Wisdom Trainings, this is our search package. I know it can whiff the Protoforms, and it can whiff the Jesmon GXs. That does feel bad, but it's just efficient. 4 copies of the Protoform. If you get killed by an effect, this is going to get in security and net you a piece back. Other than that, it's going to discount your evolutions into X-antibody cards by 1. So this is just the better X-antibody in my opinion. I did experiment with a 3-1 ratio to see if I ever felt like really swinging the Lordknightmon and then using the regular X-antibody to evo into the Lordknightmon X. It never really came up that much. 1 or 2 times, but for the most part, not really. So I'm just on 4 Protoforms. My memory setter of choice, Shuu Yulin. She does Mind Link with anything that has X-antibody as well as Digipolice, and you get Alliance Reboot. Super devastating with Jesmon GX. You swing your 4 checks and then you reboot into a blocker that can potentially have Retaliate. This thing is a wall. You get the Decoy Sister on the board. Now they have no choice but to bounce this or suffer. So Shuu Yulin is just kind of perfect for the job. It can also link under the Lordknightmon X to give the reboot as well. So you swing your 2 checks with Alliance, use the Cerberus X to unsuspend, and then you can either leave this guy. You don't have to worry about leaving it unsuspended for any blocker effects. You can just swing for the extra greedy checks and then reboot on your opponent's turn. And then I'm on 1 copy of Alice. This is a super organic card in this deck. It doesn't even feel forced like sometimes it does in my purple deck profiles. It's just a totally legit play to go into Cerberus X. You get the level 3, and now you're Alicing into Lordknightmon for the 0 cost play. And then you just Lordknightmon X, and you have the free level 4 from the Lordknightmon, and you're set up to do your funny checks with Lordknightmon X. So that is what I have come up with for Lordknightmon and Lordknightmon X. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Are you a bigger fan of the Deltamon with a little bit of Leviamon support? Or do you like this more aggressive version? Are you even bothering? I know this blocker Sistermon hasn't come up for a lot of other people, but I do quite like to play the 3-cost blocker. So yeah, just let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. Thank you to our YouTube members for supporting this channel. It's people like Langlong and Big Z11 who make videos like this possible.